Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are filming another Hoya collection video, so an updated Hoya collection video. This one's going to be a little bit different because I have acquired quite a few Hoyas since the last one, so I don't want to carry them all into one room and film. So I'm actually going to take you around to where they're sitting, their homes in my house, and show you them, and then if I need to put some like B-roll over top, I will definitely do that. But let's just go ahead and jump in because I have a feeling this might be quite the long video. So if you're interested in seeing what Hoyas I've acquired since my last Hoya video or what the Hoyas from my last Hoya video look like, then just keep watching. So let's start with this big old guy right here. I found this Hoya Windowsill from a big box store. I think it was Lowe's not very long ago, and I need to clean it off. It has a lot of dirty spots on it, but it's perfect in my little vintage arch cabinet thing here. I absolutely love it. Now it is kind of annoying if I have to open the doors, but it's fine. I deal with it. It's huge. I have a smaller Windowsill that I'll show you in just a minute. That's much smaller. I've had it for a long time. It doesn't grow much because it doesn't get great lighting. This one doesn't get the best lighting either, but it is still putting out new growth. I do want to hang a light from here and then, you know, fill in with lots of plants down here. But for now, she's doing okay. She's not dead. She's not thriving the way she could be, but we love her. So she's going to stay in the spot probably for a very long time because it's perfect. All right. And then let's just go ahead and move over to this windowsill since we're right next to it. So I have Hoya up here, Hoya here, and then I have some Hoya in here where we'll start. So this is just kind of where I've been putting them if they need to rehab or something of the sort. So I have a cutting of a Hoya rotundiflora right there that I'm saving for my friend. This is a Hoya papashonia seedling. I recently cut it and it's really cool because it grew 2 growth points out of the one that I cut. So it's going to be extra bushy. I mean, just look at it. So cute. I really like it. It is still one of my favorites. Like, it's just so bushy. So every time I walk by it, I'm just excited to look at it. I also have this Hoya right here, which I'm blanking on the name of. I'm just hoping it survives. I'm kind of just trying to ignore it the best I can. It's a small cutting. It had one other leaf that died off, so we're hoping for the best. I'll have the name on the screen. I just can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. And then this is my Hoya caudata that I got recently from a trade. I hope I didn't just tear off one of the new leaves. No, I didn't. So it is growing. It's put out some of the stem. It's thrown hands up there a little bit, but we're just letting it do its thing for now. And then I'll eventually move it to my Hoya shelf probably. Here I also have my Hoya PG04, which is also known as like a mini Windowsill, I believe. But she's not doing so hot. I got her from a plant trade back in the summer. She hasn't done anything. I did cut her once to see if it would activate any growth, and it didn't. This was a Hoya that I got that was in pon, and I didn't really do anything to transition it to soil other than take it out of the pon and put it in the soil. So I definitely should address this at some point. I'm just putting it off. I don't want it to die. I really like it, but oops. But I just don't have the willpower to do much with it right now. And then back there is a Hoya Bertonier that I got. It's just a little cutting. It's finally starting to grow. I've had this thing forever and it's done nothing. But now it has a little growth point in there. I'm not going to take it down or out because I have a larger one that I'll show you. But this was a cutting that I got first. It wasn't doing anything. And then I found a larger one recently. So this terrarium, if you're wondering, I got from Joann Fabric. Moving right along, I have this Hoya Rosita, which is so cute. I just potted up last night one of the cuttings that I took from it, and it's nice and full and cute. It is growing. These are 2 new leaves that it's given me. I got this as a cutting from a mystery box that I did with the Hoya house. And moving right along, next to that, I have my Hoya AH04, which is growing finally. I mean, it has given me new leaves since I got it. These 2 are new. And then it's giving me some new ones hopefully pretty soon. But this Hoya, I have a feeling, has a problem with like reverting. I've been watching a lot more videos where they talk about this Hoya, and a lot of them seem to turn green. So I am pretty worried that that's going to happen with mine. As you can see, there are some leaves that are mostly green, but the 2 newest leaves, they have a decent amount of silver, so I'm just holding on hope that she will be a beautiful plant. I also have heard that sometimes they go green and then they come back silver, so we'll see. She's really pretty. I got her as a cutting in a mystery box as well. I knew nothing about it, but I am excited to own it now, so definitely one of my faves at the moment. She's loving her spot here on the windowsill as well as all of these Hoya. They love the windowsill. This is a south-facing window as well, but as you can see, there is a house very close. But the end of summer, beginning of spring is like the best time. They get so much light. This is my Hoya Wilbur Graves Thailand. I have another pot of this as well. This is the newest leaf that has quite a bit of silver. I don't know if you can see that just yet, but I can definitely see it. So this one has a decent amount of silver on it, so that's pretty exciting, because the other cutting I have, which I believe is from the exact same plant, considering I got them from the exact same place, the Hoya house, and a mystery box cutting, so I believe they're the same plant, and I will eventually pop them up together, I'm sure, but for now, I'm seeing how the different conditions, because the other one's under a grow light, and this one's in natural south-facing light, so we're just trying to, you know, see. This I got as a free cutting from a local Hoya seller, and she has it labeled as a Hoya sipitagentis, but I'm uncertain if that's actually what this is or not. When I got this plant, it was in stratum, I believe, that like aqua fertilizer or whatever that stuff is. I took it out and it actually started to decline. Like, as you can see, some of these older leaves, they look like they like melted. I don't know. So it lost a ton of leaves, but it's been growing a bunch. And honestly, to me, it just looks like a Coroniana or a Lacunosa. And I've looked up Sipitagensis, and to me, it doesn't really look like a Sipitagensis. So we will see if it ever blooms what it is. You can see some baby leaves there. It's a cute Hoya. I do like it, but I'm not sure if it is what it is. I do trust that seller quite a lot. I've gotten most of my Hoya from her, but in this case, I'm just uncertain. Next up, I have this Hoya acuta. Actually, I think this was sold to me as a verticillata albomarginata, and it's given me this one leaf in my care. It is two separate cuttings that I got in a mystery box, and it's also putting out this vine, so that's exciting. I did have a vine over on this cutting that started to grow, and then it got all nubby, so I'm like flat mites, but then this one's growing, so I'm uncertain. I originally, before I got this new leaf, thought I was going to take the one cutting out and give it to someone because I didn't need to. But when this leaf came in, it filled out the pot nicely, and now they're both mine forever. It's so cute. I love it. I also have the inner variegated one that I'll show you in a minute, which is one of my favorites in my collection. But this one is definitely making a name for itself. All right, we're going to move along to the top of my windowsill here, and it has been getting pretty cold lately, but last winter I had all of my plants in the windowsill just like they are now, and they were fine, so I'm probably going to keep them, and then if I see any signs of cold, like damage or anything, I will consider moving them. But this next one is my Hoya Rebecca, which I got as a two separate, like, two leaf cuttings, so there were two of them in the pot, and they are both growing now. It took a long time for them to get there, but they have arrived, and they are gorgeous. This one would have been in my last Hoya collection video. A lot of these would have been. I haven't gotten a ton. Okay, that's a lie. I've definitely gotten a ton of new ones because I think I have like 80 Hoya now, and in that last video I had 30, so ignore me. But she's a little sun stressed. I actually moved her to this particular spot because I knew she would get a lot more sun, and I wanted to see if I could get her more sun stressed, and it's definitely working a little bit. The leaves are much smaller than they were when I first got the cutting, so the bigger ones are the old leaves and these smaller ones are the new leaves, and it's so cute. I love this Hoya. So Hoya Rebecca is a 10 out of 10 in my book. Definitely give her a go. Next, I have my Hoya Finlaysoniae. I'm not going to say that, but that's what it is. I got this as a one leaf cutting, so that is the oldest leaf, and it's given me all of these leaves in my care, and it's definitely sun stressed, and I absolutely love it because it has this prehistoric dinosaur vibe to it that we all love on a Hoya. The splashing is pink. The old leaves are like a dark, dirty color. Oh my gosh. It's not currently growing. It did have another leaf that was coming in, but I lost it because I wasn't watering it quite enough. Because as you can see, I keep my pots in terracotta, and they're in a south facing window, so they need a lot of water considering this is a tiny pot as well. But I don't mind, but sometimes I get a little lazy and I go an extra day and I shouldn't. But overall, love this Hoya. I just take it down and look at it all the time because that leaf is just so beautiful. Okay, and next to that one, I have my Hoya Mini Bell Splash, which this newest leaf literally has no splash on it, which is fine, but I think I need to address the Hoya in the room because it's not doing the best, honestly. Some of these leaves are looking a little yellow. The stem looks a little yellow. I think I need to cut it up and maybe give it a new home, but I've just been ignoring it, to be honest with you, which is bad. It's not like it's not one of my favorite Hoya. It's just there. I enjoy having it. I'm just not enjoying my time with it as much as I should, but definitely don't have a lot to say, but she's cute. New leaf, no splash. I know it'll come back. I'm not worried about that. I just need to figure out how I'm going to help her out. All right, and then I have my Hoya Lobi, I don't know. She had 4 leaves when I got her. These 2 were baby leaves, and as it was a fresh cutting, they look like this because they were baby leaves. I am happy they didn't die off, but they look a little strange. I also think there's another growth point down here, but it has recently just started putting out these 2 leaves, so that's awesome. This is the orange version, so I think the flowers are supposed to be orange. Clearly needs a good dusting, but she's starting to grow. It reminds me of my Polynera, just the way it grows. So we'll see. I'm not in love with it, really, because the leaves all kind of look crazy. So if these new leaves look cute, I'm sure I will appreciate her a lot more. But she does not get a lot of attention at all. Right, we're going to pan over here and talk about these Hoya. So these shelves I get from Etsy. I'll have them linked down below. I have a set in my kitchen as well that have 3 shelves, but they're amazing for plants. I personally love them. So I have to climb on my couch in order to look at these Hoya, but let's do it together. Hopefully I don't fall. This is a Hoya Crimson Princess. I got this as a small cutting and it has taken off even since my last video. You guys, let me just get this vine here. Look at it. So pretty. I love this one. Sometimes I think about, you know, I could get rid of it because I have a large one, but I'm never going to get rid of this. It was one of my first Hoya, if not my first Hoya cutting at all. And I've grown it from like 4 leaves, so I'm proud of that. And then right next to the princess, I have the queen. Her pot is extra filthy. Ew, and I just watered yesterday, so we're gonna make this quick, but let's go this way. She's so pretty. Oh my gosh, I love her. She is a basic Hoya, you know, she's a common one. Everybody tends to have her in the collection, but it's a must. Like, look at these leaves. It's giving me these 2 big leaves, the most recent, putting out another leaf there. I had this as a super small cutting, and it has really just taken off. I am obsessed with her. So she is loving her home. To be honest, these 2 Hoya probably could use a repot, but they both seem very happy, so I'm going to leave it be. And as you can tell, there's a lot of water in the reservoir down here. I'm not worried about that. I do need to address the pot situation because, ew. But they are happy. This is how I always water them. They are clearly loving it. And again, they're in terracotta, so I do still have to water them every couple days, even when this happens. I just watered them late last night. But over here, the next plant that I have, has a couple peduncles on it, so I want to be really careful. Oh, this is a Hoya Shepherdii, I believe. It was sold to me as a Kentiana, but I'm pretty sure upon my own research, it's probably a Shepherdii, but we will be able to tell soon because it does have a couple of peduncles, if I can find one. Whoop, there's one, and then it's grown a new one way down here, which you're not going to be able to see, but yeah, so hopefully I'll get a bloom out of it eventually and we'll be able to identify it for sure. But I had that one as a 2-leaf cutting, so it's really taken off this last spring. And then over here, we just have a Lacunosa, which I'm not going to take down and disturb. She does have a peduncle right there. Hasn't bloomed for me yet. It started to, and then I lost the bloom, which is fine. I have a large one that blooms all the time that you guys will see. But This shelf is one of the most exciting. These are pretty new cuttings that I've received. They're not like super new, but they're like the newest ones I've gotten. Ooh, she's getting some yellow spots. I need to maybe look into that. But this is a Hoya elliptica. She also had a long vine when I first got her. I chopped that off and she started putting out this one, but no new leaves yet. Sorry about the lighting. Let's see if this is better over here. So Hoya elliptica. There she is. Nice turtleback shells. This next Hoya I have is a species UT038 Flores Island, and it's finally starting to grow. Do you see the growth point? I'm so excited. I got this the same time as I got the elliptica. My local seller did mystery boxes, and she's always so generous and gives the best cuttings and a ton of them. So this one came in that. Again, growth point. So pretty. I cannot wait to see a new leaf come in. All right, and then we have the Hoya Carmele, if that's how you would say it, Hoya Carmele. And I believe this is one of the more underrated Hoya. Not enough people talk about it. It's got a couple new leaves there. Oh, I'm trying to get good lighting. I'm so sorry. But the leaves are a little bit spoon-shaped. They're small. So cute. I love it. I think I'm going to chop off this vine. Kind of looks like some of the leaves might have tried to come in eventually, but I think a lot of them have dried up now. So we are going to probably chop that vine off. Sorry about the lighting. It's a gloomy day. So I'm really trying here with the overhead lighting, but this is what you're getting. And here's my Hoya acuta, which is also known as a verticillata, I believe. This is the inner variegated one. I showed you the outer variegated one just a moment ago. And she's cute. I love her so much. I hope she starts giving me new leaves soon. She's given me like 3 or 4 since I've gotten her. A little bit of damage. I recently moved her out of the south-facing window because she was definitely getting too much sun. I think her leaves are starting to darken up just a little bit from that sun stress she had, but she has a vine, potentially new leaves. Hopefully, we're just kind of letting her adjust. All right, and then we are going to move over here and take a look at my Hoya White Eddie, the small one I told you guys about. Hasn't really grown for me much since I've gotten it. Oh my gosh, this is one of my first Hoya as well. I have cut it one time just to see if I could activate any growth, but again, it doesn't get a ton of light right here, so I'm not expecting much. I tried to move it the other day, but I was like, no, I just love it where it is for how it is. So she's staying right there, just doing her thing. She's not dead, so that's a plus. We obviously want our plants to grow, but whatever. And that is all the Hoya in my living room. So those, and then in my bedroom, I just have one Hoya. And it is my Hoya pubicalyx. Oh, she's so cute. I have her on a trellis, and she has been really popping off. My bedroom gets the best light this time of year than any other time of year, so she's been giving me lots of new growth. Most of these large leaves that you see are all new, and this is the newest one it's putting out. So much splash on it. This one is all splash. We love her. And yeah, she's loving this trellis. She's loving this spot. And I just enjoy waking up and looking at her every single morning. So cute. Yeah, definitely trellis your Hoya. Not all of them. I do like some of them not trailing, but so pretty. Okay, I took a quick break to wash my hands from those pots and get a drink of coffee, but we are in my kitchen now. I have moved the shelf into my kitchen. It is now a plant shelf. Ignore my junk. But let's go ahead and start at the top. Here is my Hoya obovata. I got this as a 6-leaf cutting, and then it was just like one strand. And then I chopped it all up and put it back in a pot. And it's so cute. Her leaves are huge. Not all of them, but the newer ones are huge. Hasn't grown much for me recently because I had to repot her from the pot she was in to this one, because the pot she was in, I need it for another plant because I broke its pot, and it's a story. But she hasn't done much since then, but I think she's fine. I do need to water her because this leaf is flimsy. This is a separate cutting that I put in here that I took from like the stem. So it definitely has a ton of roots. I just need to be better at acclimating it to this pot because it is recently potted in here. So that's that. But like, look how big this leaf is. She used to live on my table here, which honestly, I might put her back. I think she's happier here, and it definitely needs something. I recently cleaned off the kitchen table, and by recently, I mean yesterday, so it doesn't have anything living on it anymore. But I am going to stick her back up here for now until I make that decision. Back here, I have a couple of cuttings that I'm trying to root. This is a Hoya carnosa millie. I don't really know the cross that it is, but it's cute. And yes, my propagation station probably needs to be cleaned, but doesn't all of ours. So this is a Hoya millie, and this is the other cutting of that, just living in here. I don't want it to be all the way in because there is a growth point on one of those nodes that I don't want to be submerged in water. So there we go. And then this is a cutting of a Hoya nicholsonii, which I do believe has some roots. So hopefully, it's only a matter of time before it will get a pot, but it's so pretty. Just look. And then we have no more Hoya. Oh, no, we have my Hoya carrii on the shelf. It says $25, but I paid $20 for it. If that matters to anyone. It's given me this leaf, but nothing else since I brought it home, which I know these are notoriously slow growers. It does have some prospect of new leaves on there potentially, but for now, it's just living in its nursery pot, which I've learned that I'm gonna start doing because I wanna start collecting pottery, and then I can just stick them right in the pottery. So this is from a local artist, and I just love it. And then if we move down one shelf, this is all Hoya on this shelf, and I'm excited to go through them with you guys. Starting with my Hoya latifolia, commonly known as a Hoya macrophylla, I believe, elbow marginata. Got this long tendril there, if you can't see that. I'm trying to adjust this light so you guys can see everything the best, but I do have my T5s here, and then I mix it with this light, just one of them. So this side of the Hoya shelf gets a lot more light than this one, so I kind of been trying to range accordingly based on how I see the plant does in that situation. And then right here we have the other Hoya carnosa Wilbur Graves Thailand that I talked to you guys about. This came in a Hoya mystery box that I got as well, same from the other one. And this one had 2 cuttings in the box. So as you can see, these two new leaves don't have a ton of splashing, but it's gorgeous. I don't mind. I'm probably gonna plant the other one back in here eventually. But again, I did wanna see how the conditions of the 2 did. And honestly, I might get rid of this one and keep the other one, or we never know. Here is my embarrassing Hoya curtitzii. I've had this plant for a really long time, and it's never grown because I didn't give it the best conditions. So this summer I was like, let me just throw you outside. I'm kind of sick of you. Threw her outside. She started to grow, but she also started to drop a ton of leaves because she was in a west facing porch, and it gets direct sunlight for like 8 hours out of the day in the summer. So she started dropping leaves, but she also started growing. But then I brought her in, and I was like, okay, I need to try to save her. So I chopped her up, put her in water, and then I just planted those back in. As you can see, there's a baby leaf there that might be about to fall off. We will see. But overall, she looks exactly like she looked when I got her. So all of that just for her to look the same. This guy right here is a Hoya quinquenervia. It used to grow a lot. It stopped growing. It used to put out runners and never any leaves, so I chopped off the runners. Hasn't really done anything for months, which I could address that issue by seeing if it has mites or, giving her another chop. And she probably needs a repot because those right there are roots climbing up the side. But, I kind of just like looking at her like this. I don't know that I want her to be any bigger right now, so we're going to leave her. Okay, don't judge me. She's fine. She's alive still. Her leaves are still super thick and gorgeous, so it's fine. This right here, see if I can show it to you. This is my Hoya Kumingiana. I watched a video yesterday, and they said the name of it. I think that's how they said it. This is a series of 4 cuttings that I had, and then I planted 2 more in there from a different plant. And I'm trying to make them go around this trellis because I want it to be like a big bushy wreath. And as you can see, the new leaves come in super red, which is really cool. So it is growing. I'm happy about that. That's all I have to say. It's not one of my favorite Hoya by any means. And then right here, I have my Hoya EPC hybrid. I don't know anything about it. It came from my local Hoya seller, but it is exciting because if I turn it, it is growing. It's finally starting to grow at all like the node areas except for the top one. So I am just leaving it alone and trying to also keep it watered the best I can. It's a process because I just really want it to grow, and I'm not good at big leaf Hoyas, I've realized. Small leaf Hoyas and me are fine. Big leaf Hoyas, I am struggling for sure. Then right here we have, I don't know how to say this, but Vitellioides, whatever. It's also a big leaf Hoya that I got from the same seller as this one, and it hasn't done anything. It definitely is rooted. I know that for a fact it's rooted. So that's all I can ask right now. As long as it's rooted and it doesn't die. As you can see, the leaf isn't in the best shape ever. That's because I neglected it when I first got it for too long, thinking it was working on rooting when it wasn't. But I think there might potentially be a growth point starting. I can't tell if that's been there or if it's new. Yeah. This Hoya, I know the name of, I just don't know how to say it. So I'll put it on the screen. It's giving me this vine that I'm trying to wrap around a trellis. I really wanted to use this trellis for a different Hoya, but this one desperately needed it. So it is giving me a new leaf here. This Hoya came as a bunch of cuttings. The leaves don't look amazing, as you can tell. It came from the Hoya house. I do believe that this was probably an imported Hoya because I did get a rather large cutting of it, but it's fine. It's rooted. This leaf is new. It's giving me a couple of new leaves down here. It's got a growth point over here, if you guys can tell. Probably not. And then obviously it's growing this vine and this vine. So it's doing well. I have no complaints. It's really cute. I can't wait to see it around the trellis. Next, I have my Hoya Crossi Petiolata. I've had this one for quite some time. It's given me new leaves in my care, but it's given me a lot of runners that I've chopped off because they started to dry up. So I finally gave it a trellis, and it is still growing its tendril, which I need to guide back around, but no new leaves yet. So we are just hoping for the best. We have this leaf, which is pretty damaged. Recently I've checked it for pest and I couldn't find anything, so it could be a flat mite situation. It's definitely something I should look into and maybe address, but like I just don't have that mind space right now. So she's just doing her thing. We're gonna go back over here and show you this Hoya no ID is how it was sold to me. However, the seller was selling other Hoya that look like this one in a sale afterwards, and she had a Hoya diversifolia, I believe that's what they're called, and this one looks exactly like it. And considering she had so many other cuttings, I'm going to assume that this one is called a Hoya diversifolia. This seller is a local seller that I got it from. She doesn't always have the best IDs on her Hoya. Like, she had a Hoya curtitii labeled as a Hoya wyetii, so it's really hard for me to trust that. She has gorgeous Hoyas and sells them at really fantastic prices, so I have no complaints. I'm still gonna buy them, but I just want to note, like, just because somebody tells you something is something, if you clearly know that it's not, it's okay to determine, like, this is not a Hoya wyetii, it's a Hoya curtitii, because they're very different plants. So it was sold to me as a Hoya no ID. That's what it will be until it flowers, but I do think it might be a diversifolia. I think that's what they're called. Okay, this is my variegated Hoya wyetii, Hoya kentiana. I'm not sure. It just said Hoya on it. These leaves are curled up, but I don't know why. They're the newest leaves. She's pretty. She's sun-stressed. We like her a lot. I had another one of these that was also small. I ended up throwing it outside really quickly, and all of the leaves died. So then I kept all the nodes and stuff in the pot and just chopped off all the dead stuff. And then I went and got another small one of these and potted it in here to cover up all the dead stuff. And it's growing a lot. So she's huge now. And those two small leaves came from the nodes that I left in there from the dead plant. So kind of worked out for me, I guess. So this is a Hoya dashantia. Who knows? Not me. She's cute. It has one new leaf here, which you can tell is a little bit sun-stressed. It's definitely the baby leaf. It is fully hardened off, and you can see that nice veining. This I got as a cutting from a Hoya mystery box from the Hoya house. I love those mystery boxes. I don't recommend doing all of them. They do them throughout the summer, like monthly. Don't recommend doing all of them because you tend to get a lot of repeats, but if you're up for that, I don't think it's a problem. I think I would just do like every other month or something if I were you, but do recommend it. I had great success with all the Hoyas I've gotten from there. I don't think I've lost a single one. This one also came from one of those mystery boxes, and it's a Hoya Finlaysonii. It's giving me a long tendril. I really need to get this one a trellis. I want to buy from local artists for all of my stuff now, and I haven't gone to see the one that made this trellis in a while. She does farmers markets, and farmers markets are closed, so yeah, I really like it. It's given me quite a few leaves in my care. I just need to get it a trellis, and I think it'll start really taking off. One of my favorite Hoyas. It's the most exciting right now because, like, look how big this leaf is. And it's thick, guys. It's thick. Like, I cannot bend that. But it's giving me another one. Oh, my gosh. Originally, it started growing at the top there. Then it, like, died off. And then it started growing down here. And this leaf, you can see some of the splashing. It's a Hoya Lawrence Andrewsiana. I know that that's a person. I know a little bit about it, but not a lot. But I will say this leaf is huge. I do have small hands. I am a very small person, but it's huge. Just trust me. I mean, look at it compared to the Crassy Petiolata. Oh my gosh. And then the outer margins of it have this really pretty red sunstressing. Hopefully it'll give me another leaf on this node, but I know with bigger Hoyas, they tend to only do one leaf on a node, but we'll see. I just come in here and look at it every morning. It's so exciting. Along with my Hoya Hoya fusuensis. This leaf is obviously a lot lighter than the original leaves that it gave me because it was on that side of the shelf with the more lighting. I did move it over here and it started giving me this leaf. Hopefully that other leaf won't die off and I'll get that one too, but yay, new leaves. Look at the splash on it. I recommend this Hoya a ton. I got it in one of the mystery boxes, which most of my Hoya come from mystery boxes because I just like the mystery. And I knew nothing about it, and it's definitely on the top of my list. It's so pretty. Right here, this Hoya came from the Hoya house. It was marked as a Hoya Potsii, but I do think it's just a verticillata heartleaf splash or whatever you call them, because somebody else posted a post in that group on Facebook and asked what the Hoya was. And she got it from him, and it looks exactly like mine, and it came from the same place. So I'm thinking that mine is a Hoya verticillata as well, and it was just mislabeled as a Potsii. But I am just going to call it a Potsii until I do know for sure, which is going to be when it blooms. It's giving me tons of long vines now, but look at all these leaves and how full it is. It's so gorgeous. There's another new vine growing in there. When I got this Hoya, it was just like one long cutting that I did chop up myself and pot it all together. And it was in pretty bad shape, but it's not a problem in my book. As you can see, all my Hoya are very beautiful, and I've only lost a handful of Hoya, and none of them have come from that seller. So this next one is so exciting. It's one of my newer ones, so it hasn't done anything yet. I just love it so much. This is a Hoya Gratithii. Yeah. Gratithii. These names, am I right? Let's see if we'll focus, but it's just a single leaf. It's honestly kind of like a mini bell splash, but like huge. I like it. I can't wait for it to grow. And then over here behind all of these cuttings is a Hoya australis, which we don't really want to talk about. I'm not having the best of luck with her. We're going to hide the dead stuff down at the bottom. But I'm holding on to hope that she'll live for me. I got it as a cutting from my local Hoya seller as like a freebie, and we're not going to address it at this time. But down here I have I have a lot of other Hoya. These are seedlings. This is a Hoya obovata seedling. This is a Hoya henny seedling. I'm probably going to chop this one here and then throw away this stuff that's starting to die. But I do really love this one. Look how pretty these leaves are. And then this is a Hoya Tjindaminanuna. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, I definitely need to repot these because they do not stand up anymore. This leaf has done something funky to itself, which is fine. And then it's getting me a new leaf. They seem pretty happy, but they definitely need a new pot because they don't stand up anymore. Oh my gosh. Okay, you can lay down. I know you're tired. Okay. And then all of these right here are Hoya verticillata splash cuttings. I had a huge plant. It wasn't growing, so I chopped it all up. I'm going to keep one of them. One of them's going to be for friends, and then I'll just use the other ones to give away. Actually, we might have some growth on some of these. I haven't looked at them for a while, so they're so pretty though. Look how big those leaves are. I was originally going to get rid of all of them because I have that other Hoya verticillata potsii that I just showed you, and I decided that I'm going to keep one just in case they are different. That's all I have to say about that. This is a Hoya Paul Shirley-I, and it is growing everywhere. This came from that one seller that I said doesn't always have the best IDs, but her Hoyas are always gorgeous, and she has great prices. So, yeah, she really does have great Hoya. Look how many growth points there are on this thing. So hopefully it'll be big before I know it, and I really like it. It's got tons of roots already, so it seems happy, so I'm gonna just leave it that way for now. And that is all the Hoya on my Hoya shelf. Well, my plant shelf, not just Hoyas up here. That's that. And then moving over here, pretty much all of this is Hoyas. I am going to need to get a ladder, obviously, because I cannot reach that high without one, but just give you a little overview of what it looks like. So I decided that we're gonna work from the top to the bottom. So let's go ahead and start with this one. This is my Hoya rotundiflora. It's just a bunch of cuttings. This is from two separate plants. I got a cutting, well, it was a rooted cutting from my local seller, and I'm trying to find good lighting, guys. I'm so sorry. Do you want to look at my trash, or I don't know, but you can kind of see the shape of the leaves, so that's good enough, I guess. But one of these was a rooted cutting from my local Hoya seller, and then I got some cuttings in my mystery box from the Hoya house. So I have chopped it up and traded some of the cuttings, and then most of them live in this pot now, and it's really popping off. It's pretty happy. Again, this is a south-facing window with a house right there, but this shelf, as you'll see from some of the sunscreen scene, gets a lot of light. Not necessarily the top shelf at this time of year, but this middle shelf gets direct light pretty much the whole day, as well as the shelf right here, as you'll see. But I really like this Hoya. It's so cute. It's unique with the leaf shapes. The new leaves come in so small and square. I like it a lot. Right along. So this next one right here is my Hoya obovata inner variegated. It came from the Hoya house. This leaf is new, and look at that variegation. Oh my gosh. It's probably getting a little too much sun, maybe a little too much cold damage. I don't know, but it's gonna stay where it's at for now. It's giving me a new leaf there. And then these two leaves are new. It's a gorgeous plant. It's gonna be fun once it like grows in. It kind of looks a little awkward right now, but maybe I'll get it a trellis or something in the future. We'll see. I don't really have any plans for it. I don't honestly address the Hoyas on the top shelf very often. I just get up here and give them a quick drink, and that's usually all I do with them at this time. I've just been busy with other things. As long as they're getting watered, I see that as a win. This one definitely has some damage. Don't know what kind of damage that is. I always wonder. If you guys know, let me know so I can adjust my care with the Hoyas. But I think I need to move this one because she's getting a lot of light. And this is a Hoya carnosa. I believe it's a Hoya carnosa mixed with a Hoya pubicalyx. It's called a Hoya crystal is what it was sold to me as. So she's very pretty, but I'm now beginning to think that I might leave her down and give her a new home because she's looking a little stressed out. But yeah, tell me what those red dots mean because they were on my Hoya acuta as well. You guys can really see all my mess. I'm so sorry. Just look at the Hoya. They're so pretty. If you're wondering how I water these, I do use a watering can and I do water them in place. That seems to be just fine for these plants. As Hoyas don't love a ton of water anyways, but they do get thoroughly watered, and I do water them at least twice a week, at the very least. Usually it's a lot more than that. This is my Hoya Chelsea, which came to me as a cutting from my local Hoya seller. Look how dipped this leaf is. Like, it is bowl-shaped. But anyways, I got this as a small cutting. It's definitely getting too much light right there from my local Hoya seller when I first joined the community. The leaves are so wonky now, but I have cut her a couple times. My friend now has a cutting her as well. As this was a gift to me, I want to keep spreading the joy of plants and Hoya with people. So Chelsea is definitely the plant I do that with because that's how she was gifted to me as, and I want to continue to do that. She is pretty. She definitely does get neglected a lot because it's not that I don't like her, I'm not fascinated with her. So yeah, Hoya Chelsea. I put her up here. I put her back in a different way than she was originally up there, so we'll see how that goes. All right, and then onto the middle shelf, I am gonna start on the side with my Hoya compacta, which honestly, the leaves are not very compact these days. I'm not sure why not. The side is a lot more compact, but it's not really growing on the side too much. I think that vine is dried out. Nothing really happening on this one anymore. This node is this vine is the only one growing. And like I said, it's not very compact anymore. So it's probably getting too much light. Like I said, this shelf gets a ton of light. And yeah, I don't know, guys, but it's cute and I really like this one. So we're gonna just put her back for now. This is my Hoya compacta variegata, which doesn't look like it's ever grown, but it has grown because I know it's grown because it gives me pink leaves every once in a while and then they turn white. I just don't know where to even find a growth point in this thing. I've had it forever and it's definitely a slow grower, but you know what? She's holding on. I've recently moved her to a much sunnier spot. She used to be in this spot, but this spot gets a lot more sunlight. So we put her there in hopes that it will help. But she's cute and I just like the way she looks. So I'm not mad about it. Look how cute. And again, I'm so sorry for the lighting, guys. It's definitely backlit, but that is what we're working with on this gloomy day. This is my Hoya Sunrise. I'm not gonna, okay, maybe I'll move her a little bit. I wasn't gonna take her down because she has these long vines that I have to put back up, but look how sun-stressed she is. I recently moved her to my south-facing window, and I did it with no transition. She was sitting over here under grow lights, so she definitely got some damage. I've lost a couple of leaves, but honestly, overall, she's doing quite well, and I don't regret my decision at all to do that because this is a testament to how much light it gets in that spot. She is so sun stressed. So yes, I love it. I just really want you guys to see how gorgeous. So it is a pain to put back up, so I don't usually take her down, but I have to look at her now that she's down because oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've seen her and oh, look how pretty. I love it. This came to me as a really small cutting as well, so she's really grown a lot. She had a peduncle and then it died off, but that's fine. I don't need her to bloom. I definitely love Hoya for their foliage. I love them for their leaves, okay? I can't say words most of the time, but she's gorgeous. I'm gonna have to put her back up after I take the other one down that's next to her. My Hoya carnosa. This is like the heirloom Hoya. This came from somebody's mother whose plant is super old and she gifted me a cutting of it. It used to have a peduncle when I first got it. Didn't know what it was, so I chopped it off. And mostly now she's just giving me this long vine and no leaves, which is okay. She probably wants a trellis, but I want her to be trailing like everybody else's Hoya carnosas that are huge. That's all I want. But we're just gonna let her do her thing, and then eventually I'll figure out what needs to be done. Now I have to figure out how to put this Hoya back up, so be right back. Okay, after a little photo shoot, she's all snug as a bug in a rug back in her spot. And let's move down here to the shelf, which I just have one Hoya on. This is my Hoya linearis, nice and long these days. I have a lot of cuttings potted up in here, but it just started as one like 5-node cutting. So it's really taken off and done well. It's definitely not doing its best at this current moment, but whatever, it's fine. Honorable mention is this Dischidia ovata, watermelon Dischidia, which is climbing up the side and giving me nice sun-stressed leaves, but not a Hoya, Dischidia, distant cousin. And let's go ahead and do these 3 Hoya. that are living on this windowsill. This one is a micranthia, I believe. Not quite certain. I will put the name on the screen. Really cute. It's got these bowl-shaped leaves. This was a freebie in my mystery box that I got from the Hoya house, and I knew nothing about it. Didn't think it was going to survive. It was just this one leaf, and it's giving me these leaves. It's definitely getting a little too much sun, I think, but it's so freaking cute. These leaves are tiny. Obviously, they get bigger, but oh, so cute. Next up is this Hoya diptera, which I love this Hoya. It was like 4 leaves when I got it. She called it fugly, and it is no longer fugly, you guys. It is getting some nice sun stressing. The leaves are nice and lime green, and the tips are like red, and it's constantly pushing out new leaves. Like this one right here is new. This one right here is new. Obviously, it's tiny, and I think there was like another, yeah, growth point there. So she's done great. She's outliving her fugly name, and she is now gorgeous. I mean, I thought she was always gorgeous, which is why I got her. But yeah, I'm really obsessed with her. I just take her down and look at her all the time because, I mean, cute. And she seems happy here. So we're going to leave her here for now. This last one is going to be a little hard to get down. This is my Hoya fitchii. Let's step down here. This is my Hoya fitchii, and it is getting some sun stressing from the south-facing window, and I am going to give it a chop because it can't live like this forever unless I give it a trellis, and I honestly am not going to give it a trellis right now because I don't have one, and this pot is really small. But once the leaves stop growing on this vine, which they still appear to have some active leaves growing. It's growing so quickly. I am going to chop it. But I got this as a 2-leaf cutting. Thought it was going to die. Like, I really thought it was going to die. This is one of the original leaves. The other one died off. And then one day, it just started growing and it hasn't stopped. Like, seriously, it grows so fast right now. And I love the sun stressing it's getting. Did not expect that. These are the newest leaves. They are still hardening off. And it's definitely out of control. It needs some control in its life for sure. So let's go ahead and put her back where she belongs. Whew. Sorry, this is so chaotic. As per usual with my videos. Okay, now we are on to the bottom windowsill here. This is my Hoya Pacliaclada. I think it has a different name. I don't actually think that's the name of it, but that's what everybody calls it. It has a peduncle. I think that's what that is. And I think it's finally starting to get another growth point. It's been a very, very slow grower for me, but I love this Hoya. It's really pretty. The leaves are so thick, and I just think it's adorable. So she stays around, gets a little neglected, I'm not gonna lie, but that's okay. And then this is my Hoya Walliniana. I think this is the green one. I really, really, really want the variegated one. This one hasn't done anything for me since I got it. I think I need to chop it. Look how woody this stem is. It's got a little bit of green on the stem there, but I don't have a whole lot of hope for this one at this time. I'm trying to see if there was a growth point in there, but I don't know. It's holding on. The leaves still look fine and happy. It's got a lot of roots. So we're just gonna put her back and hope for the best. Not talk about her too much. Look. Okay. This one is my Hoya Mathilde. I won this as a free little plant last year. And holy camole, you guys. Look how big she is. I'm just going to give you a moment to take it all in. She's on an itty bitty trellis. She definitely has a peduncle right here. You can see, probably not. There is one peduncle. Very excited about that. Trying not to look at her too much. She doesn't get like the most care, but she grows so well. Oh my gosh, get yourself a Hoya Mathilde, even if it's just a cutting, because it'll turn into this eventually. Obsessed. She's finally starting to put out leaves on all the vines she pushed out. She pushed out so many vines at once, I could not keep up. And then next to her is my Hoya Polynera, which I'm going to go to the other side to grab as to not to rip out my string of hearts. But I recently cut this one. So one of these cuttings is not rooted, I don't believe. Might have some roots now. This is the one that I cut. It was a top cutting from this vine. and I finally decided it was time to chop it. It's giving me some new leaves on this vine right here. So pretty. Definitely love this Hoya. It gives out peduncles like nobody's business, but none of them do anything at this current moment. But just look at her. Probably gonna be pretty happy with the colder weather, I think. I'm not really sure. People say she likes cold weather, but I don't know. I mean, she's growing still. She hasn't died. I'm just hoping this vine roots up for me before it does die. I always just root mine back in soil. It's just the easiest way I found for me to deal with Hoyas because, yeah, obviously I had some in water over there, but I typically just pot them right back up into their pots and hope for the best, if I'm being honest. This was my Hoya Ingliarana something or another. It's related to the Hoya Bella, I believe, and it's doing pretty good, as you can tell. It's wild. I've looked at these things on trellises, and I don't really like the look of them on a trellis, although maybe if I do my own trellis, I will be happier with it. But they also don't look great trelling, so I have no idea what I'm going to do with this thing. I probably should give it another cut, but she's going wild, and I don't want to disturb it right now. Look how pretty. I definitely recommend this one, though. It's very cute. It was very easy to root. I chopped it here, as you could tell, and I just potted it back into this pot, and it has taken off. Yep, it's grown so much since I've gotten it. I'm really happy with that. I will try to put the original picture of what the Hoya looked like when I bought it on the screen. I do try to save those screenshots just for my references. But those are all the Hoya that I have living in this south-facing window. So we are going to move right along to the last of the Hoya, which are living over here, which I'm also going to need a ladder for to show you over here. All right, so this is a north-facing window, and in my north-facing window, I have my Hoya lacinosa. This is my larger one that I told you guys about. She's so pretty, oh my gosh. I love this Hoya. It blooms so much. There are about 15 peduncles on here, and I recently stopped caring for it as well as I used to, just so it would stop blooming because I literally could not keep up. As you can tell, I need to clean this off. Those are all Hoya blooms from this plant. So yes, I got this one from Lowe's as a rescue. It was extremely overwatered. I had to cut half of it off because it was all just dead. And immediately after I did that and give it new soil and potted it in this smaller pot because it came in a much larger pot, it has loved it. It's, like I said, blooming constantly. And I think the blooms smell delicious, so I'm fine with it. But also I want new leaves now. So I'm kind of neglecting it a little bit more. As you can tell, actually, that one has some dried up flowers that are not going to bloom. They definitely blast it. This is my large Hoya Crimson Princess that I got from Lowe's as well. Not as much of a rescue project as the Lacinosa, but I think everything from the big box store is a rescue because they overwater their plants like crazy at mine. So I saw her and I had to bring her home. I don't leave a Hoya at Lowe's. Like, I just don't. I refuse, and she's pretty. She hasn't done any peduncling for me, but she's given me a lot of growth, so we will take it. And they just live there like that. And I just remembered I have another Hoya in a hanging basket in my bedroom that I completely forgot to show you guys. But before we do that, I will go ahead and show you what's left on this north-facing windowsill. This is my Hoya retusa. I had this cutting. It was just a one node cutting and it was doing fine. It was doing great. It gave me a peduncle, then the peduncle died. As you can see, there's another peduncle. There's actually 3 peduncles on here now. So we're not gonna jinx it. We're not gonna look at them too hard because, like I said, the last one fell off. And then the plant took a turn for the worst. I had to chop it off of its original stem and I just put it back in the pot and it rooted and it's been doing pretty well. These are apparently Hoya that like colder weather, and I'm gonna say that that's probably true because, like I said, there are now 3 peduncles on here. So I'm excited to hopefully have it bloom for me, but like I said, I'm going to try to just ignore it and hope for the best. Yes, she's weird and I like her. And next to her, this is my Hoya Croniana Silver. That's what it was sold to me as. This one has a dramatic story as well. It was like 4 cuttings that I got from a local seller, and she had it in very dense soil rooting, and it started to just decline because it was rotting. So I took it out and I put it in my own soil mix, and she actually survived. I did lose 3 of the leaves. Each cutting was 2 leaves, and all of them are growing though. So yes, I am very proud of this Hoya for that reason, because it was literally going to die. Like, it was dead. So the fact that it's not dead now makes me very happy. Yay. And all of these little ceramic pots are from my local plant store. So I just really like them on this windowsill, because when I do dishes, which I need to do now, which is why I'm trying not to show you my sink, it's just fun to look at. This is my Hoya Memoria, or Hoya gracilis. It is growing wild. We love this one. I think this one's pretty underrated as well. Kind of gives you Hoya pubic calyx vibes. Ignore my tool mess over here. I have chopped that vine off because it wasn't doing anything and all the leaves had died. I am keeping this one because it does appear that it's still growing. So I'm leaving that, and then it's popping out another growth point up here, which I love. It's going to be a full plant before I know it. Now, as you can imagine, I do have some troubles keeping the ones with the long vines up here. So we may have to address that situation eventually, but for now, here's another honorable mention of a Dischidia, Anthea or something like that. But again, we're not talking about Dischidias today, and this leaf is probably dead. And then that's a peperomia. So that's all the Hoya that I have here. Oh, I just realized I forgot another Hoya that's over here. It's my Hoya serpens. Glad I remembered, because it used to live on that shelf, but I felt like it was starting to decline. So it is now living in this bag. I'm not going to open it. I mean, it's obviously grown for me since I've gotten it, but it's not doing as good as I would like to. And I recently chopped a vine. It was living in my little terrarium thing, and it didn't look like that vine was going to survive. So I decided to put it in this little bag, and it looks like I might lose that tiny little leaf. So I don't know if it's doing well in here, or if it's still acclimating, but I am just going to leave it alone. As you can see, I wrapped up some of the vines inside of the pot in hopes that they'll root in. But at this time, we're, again, just going to neglect it for the time being, because I find whenever I start to neglect my Hoya, they start to come back with a vengeance. So we're hoping that that's the same for that. Now, like I said, I have one more Hoya that I forgot about in my bedroom. This is another big box store save from Lowe's. My Home Depot here is crap, and I never find any good plants at it, but my Lowe's is pretty spot on. I do find a lot of Hoya. This is a north-facing window, if you guys are wondering, and it looks gorgeous right now. It's like 10 a.m. This is a Hoya species affinity Burtoniae. Is that what they're called? I think Lowe's calls them Billabata, or whatever the brand is, Exotic Angel, or whatever these come from. But this one, it wasn't in the best shape. As you can tell, it's still filling in. This is pretty new. Guys, I am so out of breath from running around the house and getting up and down the ladder, which says a lot about me as a person, but that's not what this video is about. It's about this gorgeous Hoya, which definitely still needs a little bit of rehabbing because it was not in the best of shape when I got it, but it is growing, as you can see, all the new leaves. So I think that it's pretty happy in my north-facing window right now. I do find that my Hoya quite like it. Okay, I totally forgot I'm coming to you after I've already filmed the conclusion of this video, but I was counting my Hoya to put in the title, and I forgot to show you guys my Hoya Choke. It's a cross between the Matilde and something else, I believe, and it's really starting to grow for me. It was getting way too much light in my south-facing window, so I moved it to my plant shelf in that spot right there where it's not getting a ton of light at all. But it is giving me new leaves, so I think it's pretty happy. This came to me as a 4-leaf cutting, so it's given me all of that. And overall, I really like having this in my collection. It's very minimal splashing, which I like, because a lot of Hoya tend to get a lot of splashing, but not this one. And I think it's just really cute, and it reminds me of my Hoya Matilde a lot. The leaves are much larger and a little bit more pointy on the ends, so I think that's the primary difference. in this one opposed to the Mathilde. But that is all my Hoya now, I promise. So yeah, bye. All right, guys, and that is my Hoya collection. I need to like catch my breath because that was a lot of talking. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to count and see how many Hoya I have now so I can put it in the title. So hopefully you guys clicked on it for that reason. But if you guys count it, let me know how many you counted down below to see if I am accurate, because I am missing Hoyas all the time. I'm like, where did this one come from? As I'm sure many of you can relate to, because they're just so fun to collect. And then you have so many and you're like, oh gosh. But I am just still trying to figure out where I am going to keep all of them when they get bigger. But that's a problem for another time. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below on what your favorite Hoya is, the one that I absolutely need to add to my collection. And subscribe to my channel for more random content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!